It's on.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey, thank you very much for coming out to this meeting. I know we all have other stuff to do. And so before we start, there's two people over there. That's Ernie Omori right over there. Ernie, he's made me a bunch of cues. He's a cue maker in Seattle. I don't know if you know. He's a scientist. You know, he's an engineer. He's into low deflection and how to make it easier to play. He believes in front weighting, and I have a number of those. I like them. And he just came out with his own carbon shaft, right, Ernie? We've got a few over here. And so if you want to talk to him about that later, talk to him. Of course, there's Chris Suarez over there, who's probably the most underrated Fargo-rated player in the nation right now. but anyway, so thanks again for being a division rep and not only showing up for meetings, but being a division rep. It's not always easy. Your players are talking to you guys about questions, and you're having to look stuff up in the manual and figure stuff out. And I appreciate your keeping the divisions together. Working hard on that, and that division's in trouble, but keep working hard still. So I really appreciate your efforts. It's not always easy working with people. You know, we all know. So thank you. You know, so we have a whole bunch of stuff to cover. So I'll try to be quick. I actually have notes to keep me on track, and I'm going to ask for your feedback at a different number of points here during this. But first of all, you know what? It's been a whole full year now for us. Before it was like half a year, whatever. We kind of took over what was there. We didn't feel like it was fair to change bylaws or anything during that period. They wouldn't let us anyway. And so we kind of had to run it with the way it was run, but starting last summer, we introduced our new bylaws with new rules and guidelines, and so it's been a year. So thanks for sticking with us. So how do we feel like we've done it? I mean, you know, and you know, comparing it to the way it was, I feel like when we compare it to the way it was, I feel like we're doing better. Okay. I don't feel like we're doing excellent. I feel like we've made some progress. Okay. How have we done? What are some good things and bad things? Well, the first most obvious thing is score sheets. So Kathy and her sisters and Cheryl, we have 3 part-time employees now. We do that, and it's all electronic, which is different now, and electronic payments. It makes things a lot easier. It's still a ton of work, though. It's crazy how many hours we're paying for. But we're doing that, so now the score sheets are pretty much on time. There's still some glitches at times, like in the beginning of the session. It's hard because teams are dropping and they're coming on, rosters are changing, so sometimes it's hard to get that scheduled out at the time of now. But, you know, truly, you know, you should see Kathy. She's up early. She's awesome. She does her quiet time and has her hot cocoa, gets her brain ready, and then she's just like in the office from the time I get out of bed until after I get home. I mean, it's like an all-day thing. So hats off to Kathy. She does so much admin, and that's why the admin part is pretty good. So anyway, thanks, hon. So score sheets are better. Communication, I think, is better. We're trying to use technology here, a little bit, social media. Our website is up and actually active. Our Facebook, I think we have over 1,000 members now. You know, that's still a work in progress. I'm learning how to do that. Anyway, so we're offering more weekend tournaments than ever, right? We're offering more and emphasizing more singles qualifier boards. Really, we're trying to open the funnels and floodgates, as I said before, in terms of philosophy, regarding opportunities to get to Vegas. Tri-Cups is bigger, WPQ is bigger, so that just makes it, you know, gives each player and each team more opportunities. You know, we have that last chance, what is that called? The best of the rest tournament. You know, to get into WPQ, which I think is kind of cool. And one really neat thing I thought, you can look at it 2 ways though. One neat thing is the winner of the 8-ball best of the rest team. Those guys actually went to WBQ and made it. And they went to Vegas. It's like that's a Cinderella story. I mean, I like those underdog things, right? They just barely missed out on it the regular way. They got, you know, so it's just, it went that way. Anyway, they went pretty deep too. They had a good time. And then we had our first ever cash cup. Okay, just to review that. that was a ton of work too. And overall, what do I think of it? I think it was pretty good. So maybe it wasn't a home run. I thought maybe it was a triple. Albert thinks it's an off-the-wall double, but or whatever. It's still, we got it done, and it was kind of a cool big event. I think it could be bigger in the future. So we're working on getting a venue for next year. Maybe it'll be at the same place, but we're negotiating stuff like that. And Genji, come on over. Cat, come on over. Order some breakfast. So, but anyway, we're working on that. We have to have a post-event meeting to decide, okay, or to talk about what went well and what can we do better. And Genji came just in time, because what we want to do a little later is, well, I don't even know if you guys brought your keys, but I haven't really seen you keys around. You guys all have stuff to do, right? Okay. But, you know, Genji he's a very meticulous person, detail-oriented. He's, you know, really, but he's on the same page, you know. He's trying to make things better for the whole league. And so he has some ideas on how to make that 9-ball thing better. Because I think, you know, as far as the Cash Cup goes briefly, I think the 8-ball thing went pretty well time-wise. And we have, you know, we sent out questionnaires to all the participants, and, you know, that was good. The 9-ball thing, I'd say, honestly, I mean, just for the whole Cash Cup thing, virtually all the evaluations that were turned in were positive. Virtually all. So, but, you know, I did hear from a few people, including Dan. Dan was thinking, okay, that 9-ball thing should be longer. Maybe we should do 2 racks. Genji has another idea of about maybe 1/3 points. So we did some calculations about how to do that, if that would work. Now, some of the pros and cons. Actually, me and Albert did a little test on that last night.
Well, I don't think it's 2 racks. I was just saying a race to 10 points.
That's better.
Which could actually will actually probably go into it, but if someone breaks and runs, they deserve to win the rack at that time it goes. But at least it's not a one and done game, you know, where you run out and you put 2 balls and then they win. And, you know, that's great for people who play BCA, but for people a lot of people in APA don't play that way. They never played 9-ball until now, and they play on a point system, and that still follows the AP point system way.
That's
each
correct.
ball is worth a point.
Yeah, and, you know, that's correct. Thank you. So I was trying to think of what the different strategies were last night. I'm like, what was Dan saying? So thank you. I'm glad you're here, so you can clarify that. But you know, what we might want to do is do a couple of matches between a couple of highs, a couple of lows, if we could, to figure out, okay, how long is that going to take? And actually, with me and Albert, we did the 1/3 point thing. I had to get to 19, he had to get to 13. That took a long time. I mean, that went through almost 4 racks. I could have gone to 4, but
We've seen you play.
Yeah, we've seen
3 racks
play.
took a long time. Pardon?
We've seen you play.
Okay, so anyway, just about the Cash Cup, yeah, we're going to look into how to make it better, and if you guys have time, maybe if we have a little bit of time after to kind of figure that out. Also, or we can just do a single qualifier board. If we can agree on a format, you guys want to play, we'll run a single qualifier board. Was that a half price thing, or was that just a free thing? The single qualifier.
Well, we've done half.
We've done half price before? Okay. Okay, so think about what you want to do. If you want to do this experiment thing, you want to do a single qualifier board. Anyway, I appreciate that. Okay, let's see. So, you know, I posted on Facebook the flow chart about you know, how to get the baby. So Kathy's going to briefly review that. So why don't you come on over here, because this is what the camera is.
Were you going to introduce Albert first?
Oh, right.
Because that's another thing we were
Okay,
improving.
thank you. Appreciate that. So look, it's right there, and I missed it. So,
You're on the wrong side of the camera.
Okay, so you know, I kind of went over some of the stuff we did during the year, right? Listed it off, this, that, and the other thing. And then, you know, I'm trying to think too of what we need to do better. And just on a personal standpoint, you know, I have a regular job. And it is kind of time consuming. And you know, on a personal note, I feel like I've lost my temper a little too many times this year. And I'm not really the person that way. And I think I'm trying to self-evaluate that. I'm trying to figure out, well, why is that? What can I do about it? And I feel like I just have too much on my plate. And so So an opportunity came up where we decided that we would hire a lead manager, and that person is Albert. And you guys all know Albert Young? Albert's an amazing person. We've been friends for a long time, but what I like about him is that he's excited about the league. He thinks it's on the cusp of greatness, and so do I. But sometimes I get kind of frustrated with individuals that I have to deal with. But I don't want to lose, sight of the big picture. But I feel like he has the same big picture where he wants excellence in the league. He wants us to be a really great team. He wants us to be like I do. We want to make our mark in the league to say, geez, we started with this, we ended with that. That's a lot. We want that for ourselves. We want that for our kids. We want that for our pool players to feel like, this was a time where the league got better. And that's really what it's all about. And he's totally on the same thing. He loves pool. He loves people, as you all know. And anyway, so he's on board to help out. He's going to take some of the load off both Kathy and I. So that's kind of the deal. So anyway, welcome, Albert. Oh, so Albert, you want to say something about yourself?
So that's true. I would say for me, Ed was stressing a little bit, and opportunity arose, so he provided it to me, and so I accepted. I don't know if you've known this, but I came in the league because of Ed. His team was needing a player, so I got introduced to him, brought into his house. It was in 2012, and then I took up pool. So, been with his team ever since. He basically kicked me off the team by making me captain multiple times and him leaving. That's what he does. Gives you the responsibility, and then he takes off. And he does other stuff. He expands, he takes over more teams. Very good about that. So I've been in the league since. Always liked pool. Had the opportunity to play now, and here I am. So if you guys have any questions, anything that you have issues with, I mean, you need to send it to me, send it to Kathy, and actually I'll be trying to come around. I'll be out and about with you guys in the league. I'm trying to join a couple divisions where we're not at quite frequently. So hopefully, if you're not getting a response from me directly, you can contact me like when I'm out. Yeah.
Are you going to have a separate email from the CAMBO?
We're going to actually use, oh, that's a good question. We're going to use that contact.gsap@icloud.com. So send all of that there.
Can you put that out there on Facebook?
Yeah, so we're going to use that for everything. And what's going to happen with that is, she's going to go into that a little bit more, I think, or Ed. But everything funnels into there, and we're going to try to disseminate, and we'll filter out who answers what. So definitely contact that new email, contact.gsap@icloud.com. And then, yeah, but if it's real immediate, yeah, throw it at me, and I'll try to respond as soon as possible.
You're in my phone.
I don't know if that's good. Thanks.
All right. Anyway, so thanks, Albert, for coming on board. So now I think Kathy's going to go over the flow chart.
So, as experienced AK players, you probably know how to get, that Vegas is at the end of the tunnel. And as a league operator gone through training, I know how to get to Vegas, or I know that the point of the teams is to get to Vegas. But I don't know if everybody knows that. And I think a lot of new players, maybe even a lot of old players, don't know that. So Genji had come up with this nice little flow chart that kind of explains, okay, here you are at the team level. This is where you want to get. This is kind of how you get there. And so this has been on the website for a little while, but we're going to do another starting to do a few more email things where we're going to connect people with this so that there is more, they know that there's more than just the end of the session. Because you get to the end of the session, you win, what do you get? Trophies! You don't win money anymore. I mean, in the old days, and people, there's enough of the oldsters around to remember that they got money for first place. Maybe the new people don't know that, but the old people remember that, and it's kind of like, well, what is there then? Now, that's what the cash cup is for, but that's kind of, you know, like a wage gratification kind of thing. But, so this kind of shows too that there is, you know, okay, you win your division, you move this way, to the tri-cups. And tri-cups, I think for the old people too, that used to be called the money tournament. So it's still, the money's still there in tri-cups, it's just distributed differently. And so people, I don't know if people realize that, but, so it's the same amount of money that was there before, it's just distributed between 8 teams. 8 teams get $400, and then if you get to that point, you go farther, you go to WPT, and then eventually you get to Vegas. So anyway, we're gonna put this out there so that more people know that there is more to go for than just division winners and all of that. And like Albert was saying, part of that communication is going to include a new email address that we're going to try to. We've started using that with some of our communication, but that'll be out there more, so people will have that information as well.
Can you print that off, get that printed on the score sheets? The email contact.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
We'll do that too. So yeah, we're figuring, different ways, score sheet, website, emails, Facebook, the app, try to put it all out there. So I think that's
Perfect, thanks. So I mean, just to reiterate, one of the main points of what she was saying was there is money. The same amount of money is being given out. It's just in a different way. I mean, with the division winners, it goes toward the cash cup. In the with the old money tournament, which is now tri-cups, it's still the same amount of money going out. It's just that it doesn't all go to the top player, and it's a way bigger field, which has to do with our funneling proposition, right? Good. I'm so glad you're here. So.
Because I disagree with you.
That's why. So, because that's the topic of discussion coming up now. Okay, but part of our philosophies that we've subscribed to, you guys know this, right? Open opportunity, right? We're trying to open the floodgates a little more, whereas before the funnel was very tight, where the cash cup was very small, might have been 12 people, single elimination, and that made WPT very small too. So we're trying to make it bigger so that people feel like they have more opportunities to get in. So that's why, the 3,200 is divided down to 8. We're trying to qualify 8 people in. We could concentrate the money more if that's what people want, but then we'd have to make the tournament like 3 days. I mean, who wants to come back on Monday and finish it up? That'll be not very many people. We have legal on Monday too. Started on Friday night. We have leagues on Friday nights too. So it's a difficult thing to make the tournament longer. We can make it single elimination. There's different things we can do, but at this point in time, we've chosen not to. Just, our point is get the Vegas. So, okay. Anyway, all right. So feel free to order breakfast too, Terry. So this is where I'm going to want some of your feedback, and this has to do with our concurrent session rule. Okay. So are you guys familiar with what that is? Okay. Basically, for whatever tournament you're participating in, whatever APA tournament you're playing in, APA or GSAPA tournament you're playing, you need to be on an active roster somewhere, somehow. Okay. There's some other rules in the OTM about having your team active too for different sessions to progress through, but that's something else. I mean, it is the same, but it's anyway. So that's what the concurrent session is. So why do we have that in our bylaws? You guys know? there's three major reasons there. Number one is that's what the APA wants us to do. The majority of league operators in the nation do that, especially concentrated on the newer league operators within the last 5 years. But there has been turnover with league operators. The old guys who have done it for 25 years, many of them don't do that currently. And part of that is because change is hard for everybody. It's not just for you guys, change is hard for me. Change is hard for you. Change is hard for all our players. So, but, one thing is, we bought into a franchise. Franchises normally have, one benefit of buying a franchise is that there's kind of a set guideline on what you're supposed to do, right? So to make a Big Mac a certain way, to make French fries a certain way. So, we're trying to take the advice and the guidelines from our advisors from the national office, from our training, as far as adopting their bylaws. And they gave us a template to make the bylaws out, so that's part of it. So I'm kind of a rule follower. I'm not an anarchist, I'm more of a rule follower, especially when there's money in the game and we're trying to do things the right way and we're trying to make the league grow. So that's number one. Number two is handicapping. This is a handicap league, so we need data points. So if a person qualifies for WPQ months ago and they don't have to play again until fall or whatever, the natural thing to do is to want to practice beforehand so you can really do well and really be underrated according to your handicap for Vegas. Now that's not true for everybody, right? That's implying people are cheaters. I'm not trying to imply that, but I do know that there are some people who would do that. And so, in fact, the national office has had some issues with DQing teams in Vegas. Just about every session, every August they have to DQ teams because of excessive skill levels. So, they're trying to put pressure on us to get better data and analyze the data more thoroughly, which we're really trying to do. We're trying to keep the handicapping a little more tight and a little more responsive than before. Because the equalizer doesn't do everything. You have to do some things. I'm limited in what I can do, by the way, too. I do try to keep we're actually required by contract to review these scores every single week. Not all these operators do. They have ways to check if we do it or not. But there you go. So there's ways around that. But I really do. I try to keep up on it. So, one goal I have is to try to make handicapping more fair. But that's part of it too. Is during the summer, we want players to play because we need the data. Number three is the whole fairness issue. I feel like I want to offer more opportunity, more players. But especially to the players who put their time in the league for the whole year, right? For the guys who play all year long because they're hooked on pool, they're addicted to it, they can't live without it. I want those guys to have the most opportunity, not the guys who play just in the spring and the summer. I want the guys who play all year long. I want them to have the biggest opportunity. It just feels like it's more fair. The guys who put more in should get more out, at least in terms of opportunity. Doesn't mean they're going to win it, but it's just a fairness thing. So I'm pulling for the regular, honest player who's addicted to pool. That's our bread and butter, and I feel like it's just more fair to do it. So those are my three major reasons for why we have that in the bylaws. So that's not set in stone, though. Because kind of. A side effect of that has to do with playoffs. And we ran into this problem in playoffs this last session, where some division reps were saying, okay, we'll put everybody in the draw without talking to the players or the teams. Do you want to be in the draw or not? Because blah, blah, blah. And then others would say, well, okay, you're not registering for next session. You're sure you're not going to play. So we're just going to eliminate you from the draw. And so does everybody kind of understand the controversy there about being in the draw or not? Pretty much. So with the current system, with the concurrent session rule, let's say a team wins their division in summer, but they know they're not going to play in the fall. They know they want to break or whatever. So, you know, should they be allowed to play in playoffs? I mean, I'd say yeah, they could, but then if they do, if they're not going to register for the fall session, then it doesn't actually lead anywhere, but they can still play. It does reduce an opportunity for another team to get to tri-cups, but I'm okay with that. I mean, if a team wants to play and they're just playing because they love to play, nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm kind of that player. It's like, well, if I know my team is taking a break, maybe I won't, but I still want to play that last match because I like to play cool. But other teams are more goal-oriented, which is better, which is fine. I'm more selfish in that way. And so, you know, if they're saying, well, it doesn't lead to tri-cups, which leads to money, well, then I'm not going to play. I mean, that's okay too. I mean, they do have a choice, but they need to be fully informed of where things lead or don't lead. So, you know, I would guess that most teams, if they know that they play in playoffs, it takes something away from somebody else, and they don't get to go to tri-cups because they're not going to be registered. A lot of them want to play. But I'm just not sure that we should take that out of their hands. Because maybe there's a team that would say, no, this is part of the session, we should play. So I think a lot of it has to do with properly understanding the dilemma and educating them as far as their options of where it leads or does not lead. So, so I should say that, you know, there, a couple sessions ago, last year, it happened where a team did not register for the next session. And you know how tri-cups are, you know, playoffs are right away. So tri-cups, they can be a couple weeks out, they could be a month out. And, you know, why isn't it right after? And the reason it's not right after is because there's a ton of stuff that we have to do to get that rich. We don't know, in fact, who's going to be all in tri-cups till that last team is done on, you know, Sunday or on Friday. And so to get everything going in that 1 week is really difficult to get all the numbers done, right? So, and then during certain times of the year, we have certain deadlines from the EPA. Like we have to get, we have to figure out, okay, who's going to get qualified for technical, who's going to get qualified for doubles. We have to run the masters. So there's a whole bunch of requirements that we have that make it so we cannot have tri-cups within 2 weeks of the end of the session or the beginning of the next session. So we can't always have it within 4 weeks. So anyway, so it happened one time that a team won, they won playoffs. They said, okay, we'll go to tri-cups, but we're not going to play in fall or whatever session it was. And then they won tri-cups. And part, you know, see, that's a byproduct of our opening the funnel, right? Because we're qualifying more people, so that's going to happen to more teams, which is a good thing generally. So then this team says, well, gee, you know what? We're 5 weeks into it. Can we join now? Because we won tri-cups. And so we said yes. Yeah, we probably should have said no. But on the, you know, there's pros and cons to that. It's like, well, why didn't you tell me that before? Blah blah blah. Right? So we figured in 5 weeks we could do that. So we did. But we did get some kickback from that from other players. Who are like, what? That's not fair. How can they just join, you know, this late in the session? So anyway, so we felt like that was something to bank in our memory banks as far as how do we avoid that. Yeah, but it's super disruptive. We have to redo the whole schedule, and then you know, just even this startup session is tough because as teams enter, even the week before, the day before, or even a week late, right, or 2 weeks late, it's going to screw everything up. I mean, that happened for Beering this year, where we've redone the schedule. This is our 4th month, and people are complaining because it's like, well, wait a minute, we just played the 4Bs last week. We're supposed to play them again, and it's hard for us to check all those things. You know, we check to make sure that okay, this guy doesn't have too many buys, and when you just create a whole new schedule 4 times, it's just not pleasant for the players, the teams. It's not very, you know, there's pros and cons. You can do it, but it's not great. Pardon?
You're not even supposed to change the broadcast.
Correct.
So
that's correct. Okay, so anyway, so this, I want to spend a little bit of time listening to what you have to say about this topic, but I'm only going to give you 30 seconds, sorry. But no, I'm kidding. So But I want to say that we're trying to listen to what you guys have to say, and we're trying to address and take all these issues and figure out, okay, what's the best way to deal with this? And you know, we had a long discussion of the three of us last night, late into the night, just trying to figure out, okay, what are the pros and cons? And at this point, it's a little bit confusing for all of us. It's kind of like, well, what is the right answer? Is there actually a right answer? It's like the question of, you know what? I think an apple is way better than a banana. No, you know what? I think a banana is way better than an apple. What's the right answer? There's probably not a right answer. So there may or may not be a right answer here, but we are open to change, and we're open to adjusting within the rules of the APA. So I was trying to come up, in fact, with a tentative bylaw change, which we can't enact, by the way, until next school year. Right? So I want to hear this stuff, but it's not like, okay, we come to consensus and we're changing it. It's not going to change for this session. It's not going to change for the next session. You can change if the bylaws get approved that we have to submit in February. So, you know, this is the time to get your feelings and your thoughts out there, where that way we can all make a better, more informed decision. You know, so one thing we were thinking about was making kind of like an exception to the rule for tri-cups. I mean, having a concurrent session thing for everything, you know, including Aloha. Something came up about Aloha too. We didn't have that specifically in there, although we said, for example, but not including blah, blah, blah. We didn't include Aloha. So we're going to include that next time. But you know, we're thinking about how we can do an exception to say for, you know, well, with playoffs, obviously, you know, just win playoffs or don't win playoffs, then you can decide if you're going to play the next session, right? That's easy. I mean, you just say, and for instance, you could just say you're going to play. And that's what I kind of like the division reps to do, is to just confirm with your teams that you're going to play and just say, look, your default is you're going to play. Let me know if you're not, because if I don't put you down to play, you don't get your bonus points. Does that make sense? Because, you know, it's kind of easier if the default is, okay, I'm going to contribute to my IRA, you have to tell me not to, rather than if a company says, just tell me if you want to contribute. The response rate's way higher if the default is that way. So same with that, I would just say, look, the carrot is you're getting bonus. I'm going to sign you up. But let me know within the next week if you're not, because then I'll take you out. So that way with playoffs, it's not an issue. People can all play in that if they want, and then if they decide that they're going to quit because they didn't win playoffs or they were conditional really in their heads, that's fine. Then just let us know that they're not going to play. But for tri-cups, it's a little bit different. We're thinking about an exception and trying to word that. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, gee, you know, that looks pretty good. So I'm such a flip-flopper. I'm thinking, oh, no, that looks really good. Then I'm thinking, okay, what's the devil's advocate? Well, a couple of things to think about for not doing that is, number one, it's not what the APA wants us to do. I mean, the whole national APA, their push in the last 5 years has been for concurrency. They want you to be present at the time at which the tournament is being held. And that is true for every single event that the APA holds except for 8 and 9. And you know why that's being held back? From the old 25-year league operators. Guys have done it forever and they don't want to change it. It's difficult to change. Nashville wants it, but they kind of haven't had the guts to just put it in the league yet. But that might happen soon because we have a new old president. And so it's a little bit of turnover here. For better or worse, there's issues that are hard. So, but you know, one thing is that's the way they're going anyway. So why not be a little bit proactive? Another thing is by doing that, it kind of goes against my whole theory of rewarding those teams who are addicted to pool, who are faithful and who are playing every session. Many teams are like, well, I don't care if I win or lose playoffs, I don't care. I'm just here for the weekly sessions, so I want to play all year long. Those are the guys I want to reward. Do I really want to make it easier for a team to say, no, I'm not going to play, but I still want to play the playoffs? Not really. So there's the other side of the point, right? I mean, but I'm kind of torn because it feels like, oh, that's the end of the session. You know, you played for that session, so shouldn't I have the opportunity to win my $400 even if I'm not going to go to tri-cups because they won't qualify? So we're thinking of saying, okay, you can play and not be registered, but all you can win is $400 if you become in the last 8. But that doesn't mean, you know, you're not registered on team. So according to OTM, you're not eligible for WPP. And so that's a dead end, which is fine as long as they know that. It also takes a slot away from a team from that division that could have made it. it's a negative, but you know, so I'm a little bit torn. I think there are some valid pros and cons that I'm just not really, you know, the three of us were really discussing this as deep as we could after that late at night. So anyway, yes.
Do you think there's a gray area where you could have it so if, like, the current summer session, everyone pretty much plays because of the, you know, WQ, the Vegas opportunities, but when you're playing the summer session, you have playoffs, and your team wins playoffs and then wants to play tri-cups for fall, do you think fall is kind of the one session that a team might be able to technically take a break, but then still play tri-cups? Now they're qualified for WQ for the next year, but then they have to play the spring and summer sessions. So it's kind of a way to give a team like that loves playing pool, but at the same time, like maybe certain members are having like starting a family, or there's like a family emergency, so like maybe it seems like more than half the team needs to take a break. I don't know, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Some of that is added edge. As soon as you start making exceptions for one thing, people will come to something else. So like traditional summer is when it's very hard to get kids to come back because it's so hard to keep teams during the entire summer. So as soon as you make that exception for fall, people are just trying to make exception for summer, and then it leads on naturally.
So I think you can point to the fact that the summer session is the like important, all the events are happening session, so you can't really, yeah, I know what you mean, it could be a slippery slope, but maybe you do have to make like a hard and fast rule here and there, but still, I guess, you know, reach across the aisle.
I think the problem with summer session is the state that we live in, which is Washington State.
Sure.
And nobody wants to sit and spend their weeks in the summer that we very little time that we have sitting in the bar and playing pool. There's been many times I thought about taking the time off because I want to go out and do stuff. I want to go hiking, I want to go camping, I want to go do stuff, but I got to come back and play pool. You know what I mean? And I think that's the reason why a lot of people take time off, especially up here, because we don't get good weather for very long. And a lot of people just want to capitalize on it. So I think that's the biggest deal right there.
Oh, please.
I'm assuming that in California they probably don't have summer sessions. You know what I mean? They got good weather all year round. But up here, you know, all the teams that I know that take summer session off, they take it off because they want to go out and play. Literally not.
And they can and they should. So it's just, I have no issues with people taking time off. And we're not trying to penalize, people say we're trying to penalize people. We are not trying to penalize people. We're trying to incentivize people to stay. We're trying to use the carrot, obviously. So, but you know, people will interpret the carrot as a stick amazingly. So,
You can beat somebody with a car.
there's just different ways to look at the same thing. But yeah, I think that actually the concurrent session thing makes people think about when to take a break a little bit different. So people might think, oh, the fall's a better time to take a break because there's so much going on in the summer, and our big carrot is the Cash Cup. But also all the other tournaments. I mean, you're not eligible for any of those other Vegas tournaments, but not everybody cares about the Vegas tournament. So it's a difficult thing. Nationwide, there's a lot of states and cities that have the summer problem. Typically, summer is the smallest lead time of the year, but spring is the biggest. But yeah, it's just a difficult thing. So I mean, I'm really, from a marketing standpoint, I'm trying to think what great things can we offer in the fall to make so people don't want to take the fall off either. I mean, that's just from the business point of view, and from just making the pool league better to where people want to play. We're not trying to think of penalties. We're trying to think of benefits. I mean,
Is there an opportunity to remove the money from tri-cups so that the money goes forward to Vegas?
oh yeah, you know what? I forgot to say too that some complaints that I've had stems from well, there's no reward for winning the division. Why should we even win the division? And well, we're prohibited from paying. They call it paying by the points. We're not allowed to pay winners of the division. So we can pay winners of the tournament, which is the track up, but we are not allowed to do that. So you know, the reward for playing during the league is like getting into the bigger tournament that gets in Vegas. So So that's, so we pay out during that secondary tournament, which is tri-cups, and that gives the division winners an opportunity to get some money. Of course, like Albert was saying, or what Kathy was saying, people who've been in the league a long time just think, oh yeah, we got $150 or we got $200, and I just got ripped off. I got stolen. But it's like, that's really not it. I mean, we're prohibited from doing that, and so the money's still going to you. You just have to win another tournament.
When it comes down to it, it's spread that over 8 people. It's really not a substantial amount of money. Why worry about something that's really not much?
Yeah, that's my thought too. Not everybody thinks that way.
But by removing it from tri-cups, then you get rid of a lot of the problem with concurrency. Because the teams now, all they're really going for tri-cups for is to get their place in WPQ.
That's right. That's the main
That
thing.
is something where you would expect to have concurrency because you know that the team will all 3 sessions.
Yeah.
And then you also have more money in the bank to either reward cash cup if you want, or to fully pay for people to go to Vegas, or to pay for give more money for teams to Vegas or whatever. Because as I said, $400 is not a large amount of money for a team that's been paying $40 a week. It doesn't cover very much. It doesn't cover your next session.
Right.
So it's not a huge incentive, but it's enough of an incentive that is the reason why people don't want to miss out on that.
Yeah. It's something. I mean, we could play down further, like you said, but
There's that competition angle in there. I totally believe that teams should be allowed to play a tri-cup on this, and one of the reasons why is it provides like a closure and a target, an achievement for your team for that session. We just played 15 weeks, and we come in first place, and well, let's make it second place, so we're not advancing directly to tri-cup. What? Now we can't play in playoffs. Now even if we win, we can't go to tri-cups. I believe everybody gets it that you have to be on a roster to play in WPQ. You have to be on a roster to play in singles. You have to be on a roster to play in Lincoln City. You got to be on a roster to play doubles. I don't think people have a problem with that, but tri-cups is so close to the end of the season. I mean, it's within usually 4 or 5 weeks. There's no chance that a 3 magically became a 7 in those 3 weeks. So skill levels are fine, but you have a target that you can get. And yeah, in this case you're not getting a WPQ berth, but at least you're getting your participation award, right? You're getting that. Yeah, we won tri-cups. My team in spring session, we folded after that session. That team hadn't been to a tri-cup in several years. We finally qualified, and I had players on that team that had never played in a tri-cup. They were super excited to play in a tri-cup, and then, oh, you guys don't get to play in a tri-cup. It was 15 pointless weeks. When you have a pool that's pointless and has no value, now what's the incentive to win? Or the incentive. I mean, it felt like that team got punished. And then, if there's no point in winning because there's zero achievement, I mean, there's nothing. You can't get you can't go out to ice cream afterwards award. Then why try, and why not just do skill level maintenance? I mean.
Well, why was your team folding? Why were they playing in the first place? Was it for the money, or was it for the community? Why do people play pool? I mean, that's a big question.
I mean, we're playing for the community. I mean, it's
so you got some value out of that. Otherwise, you wouldn't have joined the team, right? I mean, I would argue that there was a lot of value that you got in those 15 weeks. But it's just the question is why.
But there was no value in winning.
Winning is its own reward to some people. Yeah, but there are some people who want to see them.
I think the majority of people on my team get a little upset when there's no money. They feel like it's great that we won, but where was no one really cares about a trophy anymore because I got so many of them already that I don't know where to put them anymore. And so I don't really want trophies anymore. And if there's no money and all I'm going to get is a trophy, then to me it's like, well, it just seems kind of a waste. And I feel like a lot of people on my team are that way. And we all do. We play because we like playing with all the people that we have, but there's still nothing at the end of the year.
Unless you keep playing.
unless you keep playing. Well, that's not necessarily true. Because if you don't make it to Tri-Cup, or you get to Tri-Cup and you don't win, you don't get anything, you get a chance to go to Cash Cup, but the Cash Cup cost me money. It cost me a hotel, cost me the whole entire weekend plus food and everything else. It was a $400 weekend that I got nothing out of. And yet we came in first place, we won.
I mean, you would define the experience of playing in a big tournament like that, getting nothing out of that. I mean, what if you go down to Lincoln City and you don't win? Is that getting nothing out, no value to that? What if you go to Vegas and you don't win your BCA, you don't win the 10 grand, or you go to singles, you don't win. You spent money on food, I spent time going there. Jeez, I got ripped off. I just totally got ripped off. I should get my money back for everything. I mean, there's got to be some value.
Except for Lincoln City is a completely different tournament, because that's a separate tournament that doesn't have nothing to do with the league that's here. You know what I mean? I'm paying into that league, or I'm paying to play in Lincoln City for a chance to win, yes. But the money cup was, you're taking away the money from first place for winning your division, and
now you know that's not an option for us, though, right?
So that's not an option.
Right. Okay, that's fine. But I mean, I don't know. I just, a couple people that I talked to about the whole money cup is they liked it, they thought it was cool, but it was spending a whole lot of money to get to the Cash Cup throughout the entire season that we all never really got in the first place. You got to remember when Tracy was running it, we used to get money all the time, and so a lot of people.
For the division winner.
For the division winner, it used to be like $400, and while it's
no,
a lot of money,
150 150 if you had the 17s or less.
Oh, okay.
Too.
All right. Okay, so I don't quite remember, but it was still something, and it was still a little bit of the carrot on the end of the stick, you know. And I'm not saying that you have to sit there and do that. I'm just saying there's a lot of people like on my team and other teams that just kind of feel, you know, what's the point? And then, not to mention that once you win Tri-Cups, you know, what's the point of winning a division after that anyway? You know, you're not going to Tri-Cups after that anymore. Because once you won Tri-Cups, you're done. You until WPQ.
Well, what if you're in last place in the league and you know your team is not that great? Then why do those teams keep playing at all, philosophically?
Well, that's one of the reasons why you have the wild card draw. You want to keep attendance up, otherwise, because without the wild card draw,
the teams that always lose are probably never going to have.
Some of those teams at the end of the season would start having more and more forfeits.
I've been
individual matches.
I mean, let me tell you, I've been on teams for years who never did anything. They never did anything. They were terrible teams. I was not a good captain. Yeah, I wasn't a good teammate. And I tried the best I could for me to win, but I wasn't that helpful. I wasn't calling time. I wasn't watching the two shots. But our team stuck together and we loved playing with each other. I mean, there's more to it than just the money, is what I'd say. I mean, do you guys have any input on it? Does anybody else have any input on that? I mean, I feel like I'm the only one who's kind of saying both sides of the story. I get what you guys are saying, and this was fully discussed actually last night, exactly what you said. And, I mean, any other thoughts on this? I mean,
So I prefer letting the division winner get paid out, but I understand that you're not allowed to do that anymore. Personally, I mean, I've been on teams that haven't really gone anywhere for years. I've played for 10 years. I did go to nationals once. But besides that, my team hasn't gone anywhere. I played for the fun of it. And yeah, getting money is nice, but you know, so you win your division, you get $200, you split that between 8 people, you get $25 a piece. So I think if teams are not going to play in the league because they're not getting $25 a piece, that's a little difference. So I never saw it as that big of an incentive getting a couple $100 for winning your division. So that's just my opinion.
it seems to me that teams that quit playing, generally it's multifactorial. It's not because, gee, I came in third, I didn't get any money, I quit. Or I came in fifth, I didn't get the wild card, I quit. That's usually not it. Usually it's, you know what, my team, we want to stay together. We love each other. We're our team. But you know what, the skill level's 23. We've all gone up too much. So we're going to go to a league that has a 25 cap and it handicaps you not as accurately. So we can sandbag more. So we have a guy that says, oh no, Dumo's in the league, I quit because He's the biggest sandbagger there is. So, oh, you know what? Dude, we'll quit. Oh, you know what? Actually, it's because their skill level is too high, so we're quitting. So, I mean, that's what my advisor says too. Because I'm, distressed about all this stuff. I'm like, well, this is what's happening, and it's like, you know what? Teams and people quit because they're going to quit. They have other stuff going on. They move. Their spouse died. Their kid is doing what? Education. It's probably not because of any single policy of concern. And so, I don't know. So I would agree
Card
with
was
that.
changed, and I think that's basically why people get it. If it's there for a couple of years, people will know it's there and they're not going to complain about it anymore. If it was in the OTM, nobody would complain about it, and as you say, at some stage it probably will be in the OTM. Yeah, and I think it's totally within your rights to inflict, as what you can see, these changes on them.
Yeah. That's exactly what the advisor said too. He said, you know what, change is difficult for anybody. It's just, when it affects one team, like the guy who won it, it's like, what, I don't get my 200, or I don't get my 150, they'll complain like hell. But the third place team is like, this is great. I have a chance to get into WPP now. This is Tri-Cups. I can go to Tri-Cups. I've never been to Tri-Cups. Tri-Cups are 7 figures. So there's a lot of people who are grateful, but I don't get phone calls about that. Say, hey, thank you for opening the floodgates and allowing me the opportunity. I don't get those phone calls. I get phone calls from the guys who are like this. Oh, this is crap. You guys are so unfair. You just stole money from me. Even at the Cash Cup, it's like a guy wins money. He won more than he would have won by winning the division. Still super unhappy. It's like, oh, here's your check. So yeah, thanks a lot. Don't even say thank you. Usually people when we give them money are like, hey, thanks, great tournament. This guy, he's places high. It's just, I'm not gonna get upset. New day, new person.
Albert's getting set for it.
I'm gonna tone it down. That's what Albert is here for. He's like, tone it down.
In their defense, going to get the check is usually a consolation because you just got knocked out, right?
True enough.
So there's only one
True
person
enough.
collecting a check that didn't get knocked out. And that's the last check.
All right. So we got to move on. Anything else about that? I mean, honestly, I am looking for your honest feelings, and I do appreciate it.
One thing that did happen way long ago, Noriyuki Nantos.
Yeah.
When he started playing pool, he was on a team with an absolute jackass of a captain. And he had a miserable time. No.
I was never on his team, so I'm kidding. All right.
No, not that bad. And so me and Tony Kai, we're friends with them, and we're like, hey, you know what? Pool is way more fun than you're having. And we formed a team for one season, and it was one season only. And we weren't looking to go to Vegas or whatever, but we formed a team, and hey, we'll just have fun, people, and we'll do this, and and then we're folding, and that was it. But the idea that hey, we could have won our division. I don't remember how we did. It's too long ago, but we could have won our division, and we could have potentially gone to a Tri-Cup, even though we know we're folding and we're not going to go beyond that. I mean, it kind of gave a point to the season rather than just.
And you were still on a current roster after that, though, right?
Yeah.
So you could have gone.
Yeah, I mean, hypothetically, yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, if everybody stayed on the current roster.
Whoever stays on. I mean, when I first started out, it's like, wow, there's a league for pool. This is great. I get to meet people. I get to improve my game. I get to test myself against people I don't know. I was just thrilled. So if we got to playoffs, man, that was a huge benefit. If we got any money, that was even better. Who would expect that? It wasn't much, but I mean, it was nice. But it's not why I played. I mean, I wouldn't. At that point, I wouldn't have said, "Geez, I quit. I didn't get my $25. I'm not gonna do that." So as I got to the Cash Cup, got to Vegas. I mean, just going to Vegas was great. Kuno and I did great. Or the 3-4. But we got some money, we got some stuff. But it's like if we failed in the first, out in 2, still would have been great. I mean, I could have been all sad-faced about it, pouty, and like, I'm quitting. This sucks. I didn't have a chance. These other guys were so underrated. The rolls all went their way, none my way. These tables are unfair.
Yeah.
I could have complained all about them. Okay, sorry.
But what if
He's good.
But what if it happens like 3 times in a row, 6 times in a row?
If you what?
If that occurs with a team or player 6 times in a row, the reoccurrence of not being able to get to tri-cups, to not achieve first
If you keep
or
failing
second. Yeah.
in the league. Well, that happened to me many times. But,
Right.
I mean,
So-
it never bugged me.
Yeah.
I can see it hard to bug some people.
Right. I mean, that's just to a point for his.
No, I just,
Sure.
every team is going to have a last season. It's inevitable. And by not allowing them to play in the playoffs, and not allowing them to play in a tri-cup, I feel like that means every team leaves on a sour note. Because I think, I think the perception is, I mean, I know I felt like it, my team felt like it, we got denied an opportunity to compete. Granted, we knew we couldn't compete for the big prize, which is Vegas, but we couldn't even compete for the smaller prize, which was tri-cup. And like I said, having your customer, like I said, every time, it's going to happen to every team eventually, that unless they're playing multiple nights, they're going to have that sour exit.
Right. And of course, your point is that we don't want them to have a sour exit because maybe they'll come back. On the other hand, that is customers leaving. So, I mean, we do want them to come back, but is my priority going to be on the ones who are staying or on the ones who are leaving? I mean, there's a marketing decision about retention. We do want to retain and get people back, but on the other hand, how do the other teams feel about that? It's like, well, geez, how can they play in that and get the money, and they're not even playing? Why is there an exception for them? I mean, we're the ones who are the faithful, the ones who are playing all the time. How come they get that opportunity? So, I mean, that's really what we were debating last night. It's like, well, what's the right answer? What is the right with a capital R-I-G-H-T answer? It's still a little uncertain. I can see it both ways. I mean, I flip-flop when I talk about it. So let's continue this dialogue. I appreciated, honestly, your post in the League Operator, because I think it kind of clarified your position. It's just nice to do that. So thank you for participating in that. But we better move on. Okay, so feel free to talk to me about this further, and because I really do want to delve deeper into this and just figure out more of the psyche and what the right thing to do is. Although at this point in time, I'm just not sure that there is a right way. I think it might end up being, well, we're just going to do it this way, and this is our rationale, knowing that there's a counter to it. But I do want to listen and consider all the facts. I want to make sure I have all the facts there. Okay, so let's see. So yeah, we are considering changing. It's not off the table. Anyway. All right. So Albert is going to go over 2 things, right?
Yeah. Real quick. 2 things. Okay, so with the new structure of me, Kathy, and Ed, chain of command, what is that? Basically, that is regarding how everybody deals with issue resolution. Okay, so every time you have an issue with a captain, with a player, what happens? We're hoping that everybody uses their resources. They're using the OTM official team manual, the score sheets. Like it refers to your name, the contact information, all of that first. It always gets escalated to the captain. So the captain has to be really informed. Like he has to know the manual. He has to know the rule book. And then it will come to me. All the division reps, actually, captain goes to you guys. All you guys will be coming to me saying, and there can always be exceptions to the rules. If you find an issue that is just exceptional, any problems with it, you can come to us directly. But we kind of want them to concentrate more on the bigger areas, the bigger issues, and then have you guys field all the other smaller issues. We're just gonna have that chain of command. Just try to, get your captains up to speed. Have them read the rule book or something at least once. So, anything like that, you know. Oh, when do we have to have 8 people on the roster by the 4th week? Well, we all know, you know, that kind of stuff. So chain of command, try to work that out. Try to just re-emphasize it with your captains. And then, okay, we had a situation with tiebreaking. I forget the tiebreaking issue. It was with him. So, you guys are doing the draws, you guys are doing the playoffs, you're trying to find out who's the team that's going to go on. In the OTM, official team manual, it's kind of unclear. It says something, and you can read it quite differently than what they want you to do. Basically, they say, oh, if it's a tie, look at their record. And you go, oh, it's their win-loss record. But actually, what you want to be looking at is their individuals, the overall match score. So if they looked at that, they would have saw that Team 1 played Team 2 is a tie in the overall record. So then you look at the first one, the first matchup that they went in, and you would have saw the individual record, and you get the cumulative score. And that's what you look at. Anyways, if that's unclear, whatever you find, send it to us, and we'll just make sure it's correct. But that came up, and it's in the OTM, but the OTM is unclear. Anything like that happens, resource. Any questions?
I would thought it was just the last match that they played. Whoever won that last
No.
match.
It's head-to-head, total points, and then if that's tied on that, then it's the last match they played. So that's the third tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's why you look down the chain of resolution there, and then it's even unclear.
And then when you get 4 teams tying, then it gets
Yeah, and that sucks how that works on them.
But yeah, we're hoping it doesn't come up with you guys that much, but if it does, just, you know, hit us up and we'll go through it just to make sure.
Yeah, when 8-ball used to be just a point per win, ties happen a lot more often, but now that you got 3, you can get 15 points a night. That doesn't happen as much.
That was so concise. Thank you. Did you get that?
I will pester him about it in a little bit.
That was quick. If you ever talk to Albert, it's never brief. That was pretty brief. Thank you.
We're on a time thing.
Yes, we are. We're a little behind. Okay, but lastly, this is it. So just, you know, I posted something about this last year about, you know, pages 5 and 6 of the OTM etiquette. People liked it. There were a lot of shares and stuff like that. Remember that post? It's page 5 and 6 out of the OTM. And, you know, I've been seeing some bad behavior lately, and I think people don't realize that it's actually not acceptable, and the OTM is socially bad. You know, you miss a shot, you give away the game, the guy slams his cue on the table. Slams his cue on the ground. Is that acceptable? No. Actually, in the OTM, in the etiquette thing, it says, don't do that. It says, if you're pushing the balls around in anger, is that acceptable? No, it's not. So let's try to nip that in the bud, okay? Like, because people do complain about it. It's like, you know, people will say, oh, so-and-so lost and slammed his cue down, just slammed the balls into the rack. It's a little intimidating. It kind of scares me. In poker player. I mean, you know, yeah. So when you see what happens, just see if you nip it in the bud, just quietly bring the person aside and talk to the captain. That's going to be a sportsmanship violation, so just let your player know. For me, when I first started in the league, I was very scared about losing, about winning, about playing. And then I'd see other people behave that way, so once in a while I would display some anger. And then that was one of those times where people are looking at me funny, like, wow, that's not shit. And I thought, well, I guess maybe that's not okay. But it's like sometimes you see other people do it, and then you think, oh, it's okay. But it's not okay. So let's keep our standards high as far as etiquette goes, and let's try to keep our divisions
Civil.
okay, civil. Okay.
So to that point, we did have some sportsmanship issues this session, this last session, and we put a penalty in place. They actually had to forfeit a game. So if you find that sportsmanship is an issue, and most time everybody like plays it off, oh, it's not such a big deal, whatever. But etiquette goes in line with sportsmanship, and we are going to back that up. So if you find an issue between two captains that needs to be elevated, there's an official route for that.
Oh, thank you.
So send it through, and we'll deal with it, and we'll penalize it. And there'll be game can be forfeited, whole match.
And we're enforcing that because it's going to make the league better. Nobody wants the drunk guy who's out of control. That makes people quit. We want to retain people. We want to make it a pleasant experience. It's supposed to be for fun. Everybody says that. So we are enforcing that. That's why, okay? There's people out of control. Division reps handle that first. There are penalties involved. All right, so on such a negative note, but I really do appreciate you guys being willing to be division reps and being willing to try to make it better. So, so if we could possibly get at least a couple matches going. Okay, so first of all, does anybody want to do any singles qualifier boards, half price singles qualifier boards? If there's 8 people who want to do it, we will do it. But if nobody? Okay, I mean just Jack. Not really? Sorry, there's 2 who want to play. Anybody else? No time? Okay. Maybe we'll not do
We can
it.
be a little late. We can both be a little late. It's fine.
Okay, but I mean, so Genji is so about the Cash Cup thing. We're trying to keep it at 5 players complete teams. But that was the 1/3 point thing, right? That was kind of describe your idea briefly.
I ended up doing 3 people team with half points. 'Cause we talked about it, it's kind of a moving thing, but
Right.
I think the main thing is to try to get like a timing thing down. So even if we did like a few matches with half the points, we kind of get a general idea to how long each match takes. But I mean, I did the new score sheets, and I mean the half point with 3-person teams actually doesn't seem too bad. And that's actually kind of the format that the ladies do.
The only problem with a 3-person team is the Cash Cup is supposed to be for the teams that qualify in first place in the deal. So it should be. I'm not going to want to say, okay, I'm only going to pick 3 people for my team, and the other 5 just sit out.
Yeah, and that's
not really fair.
Yeah, and that's where we kind of do the round robin rule, where you have to have a minimum, like on your roster. Let's say you have a 6-person roster. Each person on the team has to play at least 2 times during the round robin or something like that. That way you get like some circulation in the players.
That'd be a lot of sitting for the players, not playing. I mean, 5 players every round. That means at least 1 player or 2 players every round is going to be sitting for 2-3 rounds before they get to play. Right. Yeah. So that's a lot of
I
sitting
think
for the players.
the 5 players, like I thought it worked well with 8 ball. I didn't have a problem with it.
I thought it
worked
did
really well.
8
8 ball, it was 69 balls the only thing that really had it.
Right.
And like I said, a race to 10 to me makes sense.
I like
Yeah.
Dan's idea so, because it's so parallel to the where the skill levels don't come into that there's just one rack, and the only way you're matching skill levels is the order that you're trying players.
Yeah.
It's got a nice parity if you're doing that.
Yes, and that's what I like. I really like the whole throwing a high level player first and going down. Then there's no off throwing, so you don't have to sit there and worry about having a 9 playing a 2 and getting a race to 10.
Right.
Your 2 is probably going to play another 2 or even a 3 and it's going to be a race to 10, 10 points, not 10 matches. 10 points, then it's a little bit more fair to me. I think it just follows the same progression that the NCAA does in any way, where it's not about hitting the 9 ball in, because the way you guys had it, one game, the other balls didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was the 9 ball, and that's strictly a BCA thing. So,
Just about any league besides
you're right, exactly. Pretty much where 9 ball was the only ball that mattered. Talking to Wendy's boyfriend or husband or whatever it was, he loved it, but he played BCA and he plays it that way all the time. And so
He's an advanced player.
yes,
We're talking about forwards.
right, exactly. Forward,
The one thing about the 9 ball though with APA is I think it's good to kind of stick to their handicap that they have as far as like the race team numbers, because actually the most accurate at between the 8 and 9 ball. You have a 2 ball, skill level 2 climbing line. If you stick to the handicap, it's actually a pretty.
But that wouldn't happen because you always play your highest level first. So your highest level player is always going to play another higher level player. The last
Not
match is over.
necessarily.
But
And
you're
that's
not going to
why-
have a 9 playing a 2 at the last match.
Well, that's why, like, if you stick to the
Very
handicap,
possible.
And then a 5 playing 2.
I think if you stick to the handicap, then it shouldn't matter what order you throw in. We wouldn't have to have that rule say you have to go low to high or high to low.
I like the low to high.
As long as
Low
you
to high,
stick to
low,
the
whatever.
handicap.
I'll go with that.
Then you could, then
I
the teams
like it.
could actually use that to strategize what they do during midnight.
I don't think it should be low to high because that takes out the strategy. It takes the strategy away from the casting.
Okay, so as far as Cash Cup goes, though, we're going to have a post-event meeting anyway. And for interested parties, if you're interested in some input in that, let me know. Now, our league manager is going to take over the Cash Cup responsibility. So who is that again? Albert, thank you. And so we have to talk to Jose and if he's going to be involved or if Albert wants this involved or not. So but that is open for discussion. This is the right time to talk about it. So, not this minute, but just the next couple of months. We need to decide. Okay, so for today, it sounds like there's not really interest in a single qualifier board. That's fine. But I am kind of interested in how a couple lower players would do in a race to 10 balls. About how long it would take, and how long it would take a couple higher players to a race to 10 balls. No, because I don't think it'll take too long, but it'd be kind of interesting to just get a little bit of data. It's kind of a data gap. So, anybody open to that? You guys open to quick race to 10 balls, 10 points? Okay, let's do that. So let's match you up. So lowest time. Yeah, get your sticks. So who's the lowest here? Kathy is a 4. You're what? Perfect. So you guys can maybe